Hello, everyone, and welcome to the All Four Downs podcast presented by Four Downs, Three Counts. I'm your host, Ovi Muniz. Week 3 of the college football season is here, and I've got a lot to break down in a short amount of time. From the latest of the top 25 rankings to some controversial spitting incidents in football, and of course, my weekly picks. So let's get right into it, shall we? Oh, yeah, baby. It is now first down. All right, looking at the rankings. Look, we're seeing some heavyweights start to separate from one another. I have Oregon at number one, but the AP top 25 and the coaches poll have Ohio State and Penn State has the one and twos. Okay. But I think we all could agree that if there's any team willing to climb all the way up, it's got to be Florida State because Florida State is proving that they belong in the conversation. You know, Ole Miss and LSU, they are dangerous in the SEC, but Florida State, for them to revamp the coaching staff, to get into the transfer portal, the way they are playing right now, I believe that Florida State is the most dangerous team. And another team that not a lot of people are talking about that I find it very fascinating, it's Oklahoma. I believe Oklahoma has the formula. They look like the best defense right now in the SEC. And now that we're shifting away and we're now playing conference games with one another, I can't wait to see how the SEC is going to play out here on out. Okay. And of course, there are other conferences. Don't get me wrong. But I just got a feeling that the SEC themselves is the hardest competition. And I don't think there's much going on when it comes to the Big 12, the Big 10, and everything else that's going on right now. Okay. So, all right, we'll just leave it like that. And I know everyone's going to beg to differ and stuff like that, but here's the real story on this, right? The pack, the middle of the pack, and everybody else, it's going to move. All right. People are going to start separating for the weeks 3 and 4, and it's going to be okay. But there are some games that you got to get your eyes on right now. And this is my top 6 games coming up in third down. Okay. So stay tuned on that. Moving on to second down. Oh, yeah. The spitting incidents. What's going on in football? Okay. I first seen it on college football with Florida. The Florida Gators versus South Florida. Okay. And then I saw this in the NFL. Okay. The Dallas Cowboys and the Philadelphia Eagles. So I'm scratching myself and I'm like, yo, why? Why is this a thing? Why? The most ugly thing, the most unprofessional is spitting. Why are you spitting at other people? Brandon Bett, who is a defensive lineman, spitting in the face of a USF, that is South Florida lineman, and getting a 15-yard unsportsmanlike penalty and getting ejected with 2 minutes left of the game. A game that Florida had the lead. Okay. And this guy cost Florida the game. Now, and you know what? There's a thing like, you gotta play all downs. You gotta play. There's some plays that they shouldn't, they should have done better here and there. No, 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 no. The last thing you want to do is to be able to do something to jeopardize the game. And that's what Brendan Bett did. He did that. Okay. He did that. And it's a shame that it had to go that way. And South Florida won. And not only is Florida not ranked in the top 25, but South Florida is ranked in the top 25. Are you kidding me? Did anybody see the game? Or is it because they think that, South Florida is that good? Make no mistake. South Florida got lucky in this game, and they should have taken the L. And we want to be putting South Florida in the top 25. Just saying. Another incident was the Philadelphia Eagles defensive tackle Jalen Carter spitting. Why? Why would you do that? Look, I get it that things get emotional in the game, but there's no place for spitting at another player. The penalty suspensions have to be clear and consistent leading on to this. The unsportsmanlike or flagrant fouls by the NCAA rule states players may also be ejected for fighting, flagrant personal fouls, or two unsportsmanlike conduct fouls in the same game. In these cases, suspensions beyond the current game depends on conference or NCAA review. I don't think we need to have a conference and wait a while. We don't need an NCAA to review this if it's already live and it's happening. There's got to be a quick decision, like immediately make a decision. Okay, now I am broadcasting live on a Tuesday evening, and I don't know if anything was going on today or what have, but I'm gonna tell you this: as a coach, I would not tolerate it. I don't care if the player is by far the best in the team. There's just no room for unsportsmanlike. I will suspend him. Suspend them for a game, maybe 2 games. Suspend them to where you cannot even be in the facility. And if you got an NIL deal, I'll take some money. Definitely take some money. Because as professionals, and I don't even know what's the final verdict in the NFL too, how long will they take to come up with a decision with spitting? It's uncalled for. Where? Why is this a trend? Why is this happening? You're at the level of professionalism. Let's keep it that way. The NFL went ahead and made their rules strict when it comes to unsportsmanlike conduct, when it comes to celebration or trying to flex or doing these things, right? They taking it very seriously now. Well, let's take this very seriously. Let's make a quick and swift decisions in dealing with these cases. It's just bad for business. Do you agree or do you disagree? Just saying. Suspension should be automatic because fines alone aren't enough. Nobody cares. So make it hurt. Very. Let's make it hurt. Let's move it on to third down. My first prediction here is Georgia versus Tennessee. Georgia has a better defense, but Tennessee will test them early. Still, I'm taking the Georgia Bulldogs to pull away late. Not only that, I'm straight up taking Georgia over Tennessee. They got an 8-game winning streak. Okay. They usually win big. I do trust both sides of the ball in favor of Georgia. The spread is at 3.5. Okay. In favor of Georgia. And Georgia's on the road and they're favored at 3.5. That means there's not really that much confidence in Tennessee unless we actually see an upset. And lately, in the last 2-3 weeks, I've seen nothing but upsets. The higher seeded ranking teams ended up defeating the favorites. Okay. Now the total is 50.5. I'm going to make a prediction that if you're going to make your picks this weekend and you bet it on this game, I have a blue arrow next to the total. The total amount of points for the game is 50.5. I am taking the over because I do believe this is going to be a high-scoring game. But Georgia's going to pull away, and they're going to make it happen. If the Georgia Bulldogs running game goes the way it's supposed to be, then we're going to see a lot of receivers open, and it's going to be a festival in Tennessee. Knoxville, you better be ready because the Bulldogs are coming. Yeah, baby. You got my picks. What do you think? Hey, first game of the SEC, gotta have it, right? I'm just surprised how low the tickets are, though. I'm finding out that the lowest price is $356. It's a lot of money. A lot of money to be in Tennessee. Just saying. Moving on to the next game, Clemson versus Georgia Tech. Clemson's favoring this game by 9.5. That's a lot of points, especially Clemson being on the road. They're going to be playing in Atlanta, Georgia at Bobby Dodd Stadium. The temperature is going to be warm enough. Oh, yeah. And the total points is 58.5. Now, knowing how Clemson plays their games and Georgia Tech, the way they run things, I just don't think that it's going to be a high-score game. I do feel like it's going to be competitive, but I do believe that this game is going to be under 58.5. Now, as far as the game is concerned, Clemson at 9.5. I mean, the way I've been seeing Clemson play football, I think 9.5 is too much. I'm not trusting Clemson in that spread, and therefore I am choosing Georgia Tech at plus 9.5. I really am. They say that Clemson's offense finally is finding its rhythm, and others I've talked to say that Clemson's going to win by 2 touchdowns. I beg to differ. I really do. But stay tuned. Pay attention to those spreads. So if you're one of those late ones that want to bid like maybe on before the game starts or the day before, the spread is 9.5. Would it increase or decrease? If it decreases, better watch out. More likely Georgia Tech is going to win. All right, moving on to the next game. South Florida versus Miami. I think this is an overrated game. I really do. Prove me wrong, South Florida. Prove me wrong. Miami's rolling, and they're doing a lot better last year, the year before. They got the right man behind, taking the snap, and is that Carson Beck guy, the former Georgia Bulldog quarterback that won a couple of national titles, going over there to Miami to help them win something. If anything, Miami should be winning is the ACC conference. I think they're that good. I just don't think they're a national champions. But hey, that's for another argument. But for this game, Miami's ranked number 5 and South Florida is ranked number 18, according to the AP polls. I think South Florida is overrated. I think they got lucky. And I don't think that it is going to be a competitive game. I really don't. I've got Miami at home. I got Miami at 18.5. And I do foresee that this game could be over 56.5. I really do. Miami's defense is a little suspect. But when it comes to that Miami offense, you better watch out because those secondaries, South Florida got lucky against Florida. This Miami team is not the Florida Gators. I think a lot of people mistaken that, okay? And therefore, I don't be surprised if Miami wins by 28 points against South Florida because that's how deadly that offense is. Yo, yeah. Miami won 4 in a row, and South Florida only won 1 game. They ain't going to keep it that way. Make it 7 for Miami. Arkansas versus Ole Miss. That's another sweet game to watch. Ole Miss has too much firepower against Arkansas. I think by the second quarter, they'll warm up and they handle their business. Now, I know for Ole Miss, they don't have Jackson Dart because he's with the New York Giants. But I still feel like the offense is still operating the same way under Lane Kiffin. And I believe that they will get the job done at home. I don't think there is an upset. However, because Jackson Dart is not there, 62.5, I'm just going to lower it just a little bit. But Ole Miss should take this convincingly and win. And quite frankly, I think the AP poll has Ole Miss underrated. I still got Ole Miss in the top 10. I got to give them that respect. Ole Miss wins, making it 3 in a row. All right, Florida versus LSU. Man, Florida's on that platform. Their coach might be on the hot seat. LSU lost to Florida last year and pretty much eliminated them just to even get into the top 12 for the college football playoffs. But this is going to be a battle that's not going to last long. LSU is going to win big over Florida. Florida's struggling, man. I don't get it. They ended last year being so competitive that there was a lot of promises that now, like the way they start, they remind me of the NFL Cincinnati Bengals, the way they start their first 4 weeks, and then they want to start playing football. That's what Florida reminds me. But this is not the time to do that. Every game counts. And for Florida, man, that's a stinger to lose to South Florida. And on top of that, what is the morale like in the locker room for the Florida Gators? I can tell you what it is for LSU. They're already thinking that they're going to the national championship. They're playing like champions. They're hustling. They're doing it all over there. LSU, 9.5. Man, they might win by 13 or more. I'm taking the spread with LSU, and I'm going to keep it like that. Yes, sir. LSU makes a comeback a revenge game and win big. Yeah, at Baton Rouge. All right, lastly, Texas A&M versus Notre Dame. This is the game of the week. Notre Dame needs to bounce back, and they had preparation. They didn't even play last weekend. I'm scratching my head. How's that possible? Right? Like you already played one game and then you already have a bye week? What's up with that? Well, Notre Dame, yeah, they lost. They lost. I mean, it's a competitive game, but this game Notre Dame needs to win. They're favored at 6.5. They need to win this game because the games after next week for Notre Dame, they're not playing anyone that is ranked, not even close to the top 40. Okay, so they need to beat Texas A&M at home. And I'm gonna tell you that is not going to happen. Texas A&M 2-0, looking strong. Okay, I know they're on the road, and Notre Dame won last year, but Texas A&M Aggies didn't forget, and they are prepared, and they're experienced, and they're gonna get the job done. I am taking Texas A&M plus 6.5. It's going to be an upset, and they're gonna knock down Notre Dame prior to the bottom portion of the top 25. And believe me, with 2 losses with no victories, going back-to-back losses, Notre Dame's in jeopardy of not making it to the top 25. And with the score 49.5, they might think this might be a close game and a low-scoring game. I don't think so. I'm just saying. I don't think so. The temperature might be hot over there, but it's not going to be good for the Notre Dame. No, no, no. Prove me wrong. I'm just saying, prove me wrong. Those are my those are my pick 6 going in this weekend for the college football week 3. And you can catch my results as I update this weekend on Sunday of the top 20, my updated top 25 before anybody else updates there. And you already know how I feel about things. Yeah. Oh, yeah. I'm loving it. So, hey, take it for this work. I'm telling you, I was doing fabulous last week. I'm on a winning streak. Let's go. Leave your comments there below. Send me your thoughts. Who you got winning? I'm going to recap real quick of my picks. I got Georgia over Tennessee. Georgia Tech upsets Clemson. Miami just gets rid of South Florida of the top 25. Ole Miss handles business against Arkansas. LSU revenge game defeats Florida. And Texas A&M upsets Notre Dame. And it's going to be a wild finish Saturday. Oh, yeah. Moving on to 4th down. Closing it up. Final whistle. It's the show. That's it. Week 3 is setting the tone for the rest of the season. And we're already seeing teams rise and fall. The rankings are shifting. Discipline issues are making headlines. And the games are only getting bigger from here. Thanks for tuning in to the All 4 Downs podcast on a 4 Down 3 Counts production. And make sure to follow, subscribe, and share the show. I'm Ovi Muniz. See you next week. You gotta love some football, huh? Oh, yeah, I'm loving it. Take care, everyone.